Hello viewer, thank you for joining us. This is CBA News in Brief. My name is Yunis Dekow. Somaliland's government, along with its international partners, today launched a program to reform and strengthen the rule of law in the country. The project will revamp the nation's rule of law, strengthening law enforcement and the judiciary. The initiative, named the Joint Rule of Law Program, was today signed by the Minister of Interior, Mohamed Kahin Ahmed, and the European Union Ambassador to Somalia, Nicholas Martinez Balanga. The launching ceremony was attended by all relevant ministers of Justice, Constitution, Planning and Interior, along with the Attorney General of Somaliland. Also present was the European Union Ambassador to Somaliland and Somalia, Nicholas Balanga, and the Swedish Envoy to Somalia, Staffan Tillander. The Swedish Ambassador to Somalia, Staffan Tillander, underscored the importance of this program to Somaliland, especially this year when the country will hold up parliamentary elections. He further indicated that the Swedish government could support Somaliland on maritime law enforcement. The European Union has announced that the very first international support for the conservation and protection of the large-scale cave paintings located in the rural outskirts of the Somaliland's capital, Hargeisa. The caves contain some of the earliest known paintings in the Horn of Africa. The art, estimated to be between 5,000 and 7,000 years old, as classified in 2002 by a team of French archaeologists, is considered one of the major cave art in the region due to the high quality of the art and the stories they tell. The EU support comes at a crucial moment in time to improve the protection, resources and conservation skills around the site. The paintings cover an area of 10 rock caves, also known as alcoves, standing figurines depict wild animals such as giraffes and decorated cattle like cows and bullocks. It is believed the paintings, made in an erratic pattern, are the work of the herders who resided in these caves thousands of years ago. The new 12-month program, to be implemented by the Hargeisa Cultural Center in cooperation with the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Tourism of Somaliland, entails the capacity building for the site management, the fencing of the entire heritage site, removing the invasive vegetation and the construction of pathways to the visit. Red Sea Cultural Foundation Managing Director Dr. Shama Musa Shama said the project is expected to trigger a series of public events. Meanwhile, the Somaliland Minister of Trade, Industries and Tourism, Mohamud Hassan Saad, who was responsible for the job creation and the economic growth, said there is high demand for capacity building of both local community and the ministry, so that the people can understand the value and importance of preserving the national heritage for Somaliland and for the rest of the world. Archaeologists and activists are now drumming up support for this endangered archaeological site, immediate protection from being damaged by tourists, adverse weather or even being vandalized. They argue that it is high time that UNESCO put the Atrock on the list of endangered World Heritage Site, as that will help protect the heritage. To be added to the UNESCO's World Heritage, a site must be outstanding value and meet at least 10 of the UN criteria. Somaliland's rock art appears to meet at least 2 of those, including bearing a unique or at least exceptional testimony to a cultural tradition or to a civilization which is living or which has disappeared. A listing will provide new protection along with prestige on par with more famous paintings in France, Luxor's or Spain's Altamira caves. Somalia's President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo last evening agreed to Kenya's invitation to visit Nairobi, signaling the calming of tension that rose last week on Monday. Mr. Farmajo received President Uhuru Kenyatta's special envoy and Kenya's Interior CS, Fred Matiang'i, in Mogadishu, indicated that he would meet with Kenyan leader, although the actual date was not announced. It followed a meeting between President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo and Dr. Matiang'i's delegation, where he presented an invitation from President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya. A statement issued by Villa Somalia, Presidency of Somalia's official residency, said the Somali leader had accepted Mr. Kenyatta's call for a meeting in Nairobi. Dr. Matiang'i and his group of security chiefs had been sent to Mogadishu on Sunday morning as a delegation meant to iron out the recent row in Mandera, which saw Somalia's National Army troops battle Jubaland forces on Kenyan soil. Tensions between the two countries flared up recently when Jubaland forces and troops of the federal government of Somalia clashed at the border town of Mandera. The heavy fighting left at least 10 people injured, of whom 6 were reported to be civilians. Local media in Kenya reported that the fighting also forced many residents to flee from their homes and seek refuge elsewhere. The fighting by forces traditionally united against Al-Shabaab terrorists saw Kenya and Somalia accuse each other of territorial integrity violations. But pressure from the US and a subtle mediation by Ethiopian Prime Minister saw the two leaders speak on phone on Thursday last week, with Farmajo announcing that a committee will be formed to discuss the border issue. Kenya has also had a rocky relation with Somalia since the maritime boundary case at the International Court of Justice, which became active under President Farmajo. Diplomats from Kenya's foreign ministry and officials at the Attorney General's office have been the ones handling it. The ICJ, meanwhile, will hear and decide the case in June, but remains uncertain whether that will close the chapter on the issue that has put the two neighboring states at loggerheads, especially since there are political connotations to it. The Somali statement did not mention the ICJ nor any other issue, part of the fugitive Jubaland Security Minister Abdirashid Janan. Janan fled jail in Mogadishu and is the reason Mogadishu deployed troops in Gedo near Mandera. Farmajo has been accusing Kenya of refusing to hand him over. And now to Sudan. Sudan's post-uprising Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok escaped unharmed on Monday as an assassination attempt was carried out against him using explosives targeting his convoy in the capital Khartoum. The convoy was targeted on the way to his office in Kober district of northeast Khartoum. Sudan's official news agency SUNA said Hamdok was in good health and at a safe place after the attack, without giving further details. Details of the attack were still unclear, but it was staged at around 9 a.m. at the entrance of Koper Bridge, at the time when Hamdok usually heads to his office, according to the Sudanese news agency. In his first comment on the incident, Hamdok wrote on his Twitter account that he was safe and unharmed. He reassured the people that the incident will not hamper their transition. Instead, it is an additional push to the wheel of change in Sudan. Image on the state television showed at least 2 damaged vehicles at the blast site, which was quickly cordoned off by police. State-run radio Omdurman reported that automatic weapons were also fired in the attack and that Hamdok was taken to hospital. The United States of America and the United Kingdom have called on Somalia to exercise restraint and reduce the presence of security forces in Gedo region. In a joint statement with IGAD and AMISOM, the two countries expressed grave concerns at the buildup of security forces in Gedo region of Jubaland, Somalia, and clashes in the vicinity of Beledweyn on 2nd of March that has resulted in the displacement of civilians and casualties. The statement said, "We urgently call upon all actors to exercise restraint to reduce the presence of security forces in Gedo and to avoid any actions that could spark violence." It added that they note the importance of stability and cooperation among Ethiopia, Kenya, and Somalia in their common border area where they have shared security interest. The two countries further welcomed communication between President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo and President Uhuru Kenyatta last week. The statement read in parts, "We encourage the leaders to continue to de-escalate tensions, to cooperate on border security, and to form a joint committee to address issues of diplomacy and trade as they agreed." According to the US and the UK, the engagement between the leaders are a necessary step and underscores the importance of continued direct communication between Somalia and Kenya. They said it was commendable for the Intergovernmental Authority on Development IGAD for the outreach and providing good office for the continuation of this dialogue until a lasting solution are put in place. The statement comes after President Uhuru Kenyatta on Sunday sent senior state officers to Somalia in the latest move, signaling a climb down in tensions between the two countries. The team of security chiefs was led by Kenya's Interior Minister Dr. Fred Matiang'i and met Uhuru's Somali counterpart Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo amid efforts to iron out issues over an alleged border intrusion. The move came amid tensions between the two countries on its border points in Mandera. Last week, the Somali National Army battled Jubaland forces in Bulahawa near Mandera County. The fighting by forces traditionally united against Al-Shabaab militants saw Kenya and Somalia accuse each other of territorial integrity violations. That is all we have for you on this particular news summary. Thank you for joining us. My name is Yunis Dekow. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.